Other than Celeste herself, I don't think anybody has suffered more than Celeste's family. Rest in peace to Celeste, and the utmost condolences to her parents and anybody else in her family or her friends that have been affected by this tragic and despicable murder. Now, I've talked before about what I feel are completely unfair, unwarranted, and arguably very suspicious attacks on the family and the parents. I think that there is a campaign going on behind the scenes to tarnish the parents and try and victim blame Celeste and her family for what David allegedly did. Now, it doesn't matter what you think, whether you think that the parents should have been there more. It sounds like they were doing as much as they could. They apparently had taken her phone away, but David was going to her school and giving her friends brand new iPhones to secretly give to her. Apparently, there was even a period where Celeste's mother had locked Celeste in the room and made Celeste sleep in the same room as her so she couldn't sneak out at night. Now, we're hearing now that there was something called Operation Awesome, where David and a hired security guard that was employed under the guidance of Mogul Vision, his management company, to actually go in the middle of the night on Valentine's Day to kidnap Celeste from her family home. It's all well and good saying, oh, the parents should have known. David was pulling up with private security, and God knows what would have gone down if her parents or her father had tried to confront David and his private security. I've hired private security before. These are tough guys. I've had LA private security many times, all right? And thankfully, they're very kind, very professional people when they've worked with me. But I'll tell you what, they're tough guys. You wouldn't want to go up against them, okay? And David's really enlisting the help of some of the toughest, scariest people that you can have on your side to go and kidnap this little girl from her family home. So I have completely stomped out and said absolutely no to this narrative of blaming the family. But this has just come across my desk, okay, today, and I'm very, very suspicious of this. This is a post that is going around saying this is a post allegedly from Celeste's next door neighbor, claiming that everyone around them knew. Now, because David has had such an abysmal showing in these preliminary hearings, it wouldn't surprise me if his legal team or if his PR team or even just his friends and family, in another desperate attempt to try and control the narrative and just deflect the blame away from himself, I do wonder if this is a tactic, if this has been put out there to drag the family and deflect blame away from David. Now, I can't verify this post, and at the end of the day, nowadays, it seems like all the proof that people need is just a notes page or, you know, a screenshot of a sent iMessage. That's proof of something. I personally don't believe this account. And there was one thing in this account that made me think that I absolutely think this is cap. But I'm going to read it. I'm going to let you guys be the judge, and I'm going to read the comments, and I'm going to wrap it up there. But I personally, I want to reiterate, I personally think that it's completely disgusting to blame the family. It sounds like they were doing a lot to try and stop Celeste being groomed by this despicable, rich, famous celebrity with hired muscle. And I don't think anybody deserves to go through what those parents went through. I've seen them in the courtroom. I haven't interacted with them. I won't approach them because I don't think it's respectful. They also don't speak English, so there's not really much point in that. But I wouldn't approach them, and I'd let them grieve in peace. But I wanted to share this with you guys, and you guys tell me whether you think this is a campaign to tarnish the parents' name and build a new narrative away from David being responsible, or is this just, is there some truth to this? So this person says, yes, I used to live by Celeste, and yeah, she used to watch the kids for me. No, she didn't run away, as everybody pictured to see what she ran away. Her mother and dad knew where she was at the entire time they met David, and they approve of him. We have money, he had car, he had a place, so they approved of him. Being from a Hispanic culture like that, once our parents meet our partners and could see he could take care of us, they let us move in with him. So it's more common than you think. Now, if that's true, why did they need Operation Awesome, and why were the police knocking on the door? Her parents knew where she was at because everybody have her location through her friends, plus me and her parents. And yeah, she was pregnant, but her mum took her to get an abortion because her mother told her she had to wait till marriage to even come out publicly in the family with the baby and stuff like that. All right, so it kind of continues. It said, and he had it up for like one day to make it seem like she ran away, but she didn't run away so they could get off their parents' back. and stop coming around. She never ran away. Everybody knew where she was at. She brought David home to meet her parents and her family. Everybody knew David in the area of the Lake Elsinore, who lived close by her, because she was proud and showed them off and introduced everybody to him like, hey, this is David. This is my partner, blah, blah, blah. So we already know who he was in the area, and where they say he was paying people off, he didn't pay nobody off, because that's the money that's a less owed, though when she's borrowed. Some of this doesn't make sense. The English isn't very good. When during the time she was in school, because her mum and dad wouldn't give her money for lunch. It says she wanted to go to school. They offered to homeschool her, but he needed parents' signature or authorization, because technically they are still our legal guardians until they was married. So her mom refused because she was getting government assistance where that she was at in that area, and she didn't want to get that up. So when the school and stuff called or showed up, they told them that she was at a cousin house and they couldn't use that excuse anymore. They said that she ran away, and she made one flyer and had it up for like one day to make it seem like she ran away, but she didn't run away, so they could get off their parents' back and stop coming around. Yes, everybody, when she first brung him home to meet her parents, I was on my porch. She brung him to me first to meet him. He sounded very educated and very sweet. He spoke with manners. I know he loved her. He spoke about marriage in future and getting them a house close to her family. I believe that he was 17 or 18 at the time I met him. Like I said, it's very common for young Hispanic families to date older people. Now, I think the inclusion of 17 here is a misdirection, to be honest with you. I think that inclusion of 17 is a misdirection, because one of the few things that he's going to be able to try and defend himself on is basically saying, oh, well, he was 17 when they met. She was 11. He was like 16. You know, they got in this relationship. They were both minors in love. No, when he turned 18, all we was hearing, all the messages and the illegal videos were made when he was 18. Doesn't matter what was going on when he was 17. All right? That I'm very suspicious of, but there's more. So it goes on, no, I didn't believe that he was when she came home every other weekend or every weekend. She looked cleaned, hair was done, clean clothes. She looked happy. They acted like a couple. I remember asking him how they met, and they said online gaming, and I was like, oh, this is the boy you was on with all the time. And she was like, yeah, with a smile. She hate being on camera because her parents always seen her as a bank. I don't believe he did it, to be honest. I feel like someone helped him or did it for him. He wouldn't do anything to her. That was his soulmate, he described. Now, that last part sent alarm bells ringing. That made me think, pure cap, that made me think David's team has put this together. Because the reason I think that is because I've been in the courthouse. I've seen the horrific evidence. I've seen the state that Celeste was left in. I've seen the diabolical messages and context for all those illegal videos that were made. I've seen the court and a detective testify under oath that that was the Hollywood mansion in the background, in the bedroom of the illegal videos that had been made. This guy was a PDF file. So the idea that this neighbor, all right, they're going to have all this info, and it just so happens this person's just come out a few days after the preliminary hearing with bits of information that you wouldn't have known otherwise, all right? Like, she stayed at a cousin's house for a little bit, all right? That did come up. She went to stay at her aunt's house for a little period of time. But ironically, that's when her and David were actually having relationship problems. You didn't know that, did you? You probably weren't there. But anyway, I think that this is actually a psyop. But the fact that this part was dropped in there, it was like you jumped the shark, right? It was believable until you did that. And now I'm like, no, this is a David operation. To be honest, I feel like someone helped him or did it for him. He wouldn't do anything to her that was his soulmate. What? So people just... He wouldn't do anything to her. So what? What? His manager murdered a minor and pinned it on him? Are you joking? Have a laugh. You lost me there completely. You had me for a second. When I first read this, you had me for a second. I think you had a few other people. But then when you dropped that in there, now you lost it. You lost the thread. All right? You went too far. You got a little too creative with that one, didn't you? All right? I feel like someone helped him. He wouldn't do anything to her. I think he would. I've seen all the evidence. No, he would. He would. I think likely he would, in my opinion. All right? Yeah, she was there at every tour. Her parents gave her passport to her and signed for her to go. David only paid. The clothes y'all see her in all the time were her comfort clothes. Her mum would always mention how big she was getting or how big her thighs were, always making fat jokes around family. The last time I saw her was June 2024 at her aunt's birthday party. David brung gifts and all. Hugged everyone. Celeste didn't want to go or be there because they was all asking about when she was getting married or when they were having a baby. Oh, or why she was so thick in thighs. That's why she needs to stop overeating. I'm personally thinking cap, but let's read the comments, all right? I'll let you guys use your own brains. They're saying these messages are from It's Mason Monroe on TikTok. He didn't specify the neighbor's name, but apparently these texts are from the next door neighbors. Apparently, taking it with a grain of salt, as a Latino myself, this sounds like a neighborhood chismosa, gossiper, just spreading made-up things for attention, and the person posting these on TikTok is a chimoso as well. Right? These people just want attention and views, very effed up. Dead on, and the grammar is atrocious. Okay. Also, the person in these messages, Big Mama Scoops, is a dessert place in Texas, not California or even close to Lake Elsinore. This shit is getting ridiculous. I know he loved her. You know what? Check their trunk too. I saw that comment and I was like, yeah, you know what? You defending, he really loved this minor. You know, what are we, who are we to get in the way of child love? The state, the authorities, the police? Check their trunk. Whoever wrote this, let's check their trunk too. What you got going on? The way a mother allegedly wrote this, David's mother maybe. Colleen, is that you? Is that you with the creative writing, Colleen? Source, some guy on Facebook. They lost me when they said David didn't do it because Celeste was his soulmate. Until they come out with proof of what they said, I don't want to believe that her family was involved in this whole situation. Saying it's common for young Hispanic females to date older people, disgusting how our own people excuse this behavior. I don't really want to touch that issue with a barge pole. I don't even know enough about the community, to be honest. I'm not believing someone who says they don't think David did it because Celeste was his soulmate. This person might need their hard drive checked. Big facts, all right? This is the thing, right? When you're over here making stuff up and you're thinking you're cooking, all right? David's parents weren't at the fucking preliminary hearings, were they? They didn't see the text messages. They're not privy to the discovery. They were ducking the grand jury. I think if David's parents had actually seen what was at that trial, they would have been shocked. I think their heads are still buried in the sand. But whoever wrote this, all right, better not be you, Colleen. Whoever wrote this nonsense, all right, they're dumb because they didn't realize that, like, the people that have actually seen the evidence, like, no one's ever going to believe that. Sounds like the rumor mill as expected in a small neighborhood like that with such a tragedy, but some stuff does have a ring of truth. But I'll wait to see what prosecutors have to say about how it all went down. Who knows this much about their neighbors to write this many paragraphs? They just so happened to be on their porch when David introduced himself. Gives blame to the parents while saying David is innocent. It's fake. Probably someone from David's team trying to create dissent. I'm with you. All right. That special guest back again. No, for real. Does anyone else see some of the things said here didn't line up with some of the evidence presented by prosecutors? They said Celeste didn't run away and it was just her parents going along with it. But if I'm not mistaken, David literally kidnapped her at 11:50 p.m. or something. It was 11:50. He's typing on a little keyboard. David literally kidnapped her, also known as Operation Awesome. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. You are absolutely correct. All right, doesn't line up with the text messages regarding David and his bodyguard picking her up in the middle of the night. Whether this is true or not, the way the person speaks about it is disgusting and uncomfortable. Is it even worth giving them a platform? No. She had a burner phone he gave her. Her family sent the cops to his house after she ran away. I don't believe this. This sounds like what David might have told people who asked about him dating a minor. Like, oh, her family's cool with it because I'm so great, blah, 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 blah. They're saying, I am a Latina in a Latino family, and saying Hispanics approve of 13-year-olds dating grown men and living together is BS. There may be some families who normalize it, and these are sadly people of every race who normalize it. However, the idea that Latinos massively accept this kind of thing is a lie. You're absolutely correct. This is a problem of all races. Stereotyping and generalization will get us nowhere. They did this to Madeline Soto's family as well, and no one's ethnicity is to blame. Shitty people are to blame. That's a really good point. I don't believe it. Celeste went alone to get an abortion. She never mentioned going with her mom. If they knew, I've seen the text. If they knew and approved, why did they take her phone away and he had to pay someone to give her a phone? Facts. Also, the text between David and Celeste show that he asked her to pack 2 duffel bags to run away against her parents' will. Not once did those texts between them mention the parents approving of the relationship or him paying the parents off to keep the police away. Facts. Facts. Not a single mention of that. The context was like this was a big secret and she was scared to run away. Wasn't no payment, wasn't that. And he was sending her bands because they was hooking up and he was low-key tricking on her. Disgusting. People have too much time on their hands. If people want to blame someone's parents, they can go ahead and blame David's. You, Colleen and Dawood. His mum obviously knew Celeste's age. That's why Celeste asked if the mum knew they were having sex. Last thing, people need to stop mentioning Hispanics, because if we start talking about David's race and making broad statements like this, all hell will break loose. Let's not go there and stay focused. Let's not. I don't care if it feels fake because she did run away. It's literally confirmed through text messages. This should be deleted. The text negate everything that said no one knew about her abortion. She said it herself. David admits to plotting her kidnapping. I'm going to have to lie to people around me, even my kid, for the rest of my life. I don't like talking about it because it gets me really upset. I feel like even if her mum found out about her abortion later, she would have told David. Facts. She said she'd been lying to her family about these numerous abortions. Yeah, I'm going to take the text message screenshots from some TikToker as the gospel truth. Oh, so I'm not going to. Am I also misreading this, or is the first screenshot implying that David is Hispanic? Don't think that was what was being implied. So if this is 100% true, what's the point of Operation Awesome? If her parents met David and were cool with him and they knew they were going to get married and move in together, why would David coerce her into running away with a duffel bag and hopping in the security guard's car? It was his car, I believe. They made one flyer and had it up for a day, for like one day, to make it seem like she ran away, but she didn't run away, so they could get the parents off their back and stop coming around. They made multiple calls to the police, actually, every time she ran away. Sounds like a lot of effort just to support your daughter's relationship. I'm not buying that. I don't care. If you're going to make shit up, make sure it makes sense, all right? So look, bunch of nonsense, all right? A lot of people are giving their opinions. I'm sure there's people at the bottom of the barrel that are probably supporting. Let's just see, all right? And we're gonna wrap it up, all right? But a lot of people, this is very controversial today, okay? These are the David defenders getting downvoted to hell in the bottom. I disagree with these people before even reading it. But let's see what the David defenders and the brainwash crew, all right, have to say. This has been very obvious from the start. It floors me to see the simplistic defenses of the parents, especially in general pop culture threads. David was easier than most people to embarrass publicly because of his fame. They stopped resisting. It's sickening. Making a police report after the school calls and taking away a phone is the absolute barest minimum a parent can do. Allowing her to be come and picked up at the house to go to his house is absolute insanity. They rocked with it once it took too much effort to say no, and because he was taking care of her, this was obvious from the start. How do people not see it? Everyone knew where she was. What parent wouldn't be all over the media pissed off? They never were, because they know they aided it. ETA, downvote all you want. The parents did nothing to protect their daughter, and downvotes don't change facts. Disgusting the way people protect parents like this. You really don't care about little girls, and it's obvious. Absolute disgrace. Should be ashamed of yourself for thinking that. Seems like she was right about the June party from the video we seen of Celeste on her cousin's TikTok. That matches up June 2024. Yeah, but David wasn't there. The poster claims David came and bought gifts for everybody. There's cap. All right? Anyone can say they're anybody. All right, I'm going to leave it there. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I didn't want to give too much time to this. And as you can see, I don't agree with it, but I did want to just share this with you because I do think it's important to document this nonsense too. I think once all is said and done and we get to a full-blown trial and David is cooked serving life in jail, I think there's going to be a lot to be said about the campaign of disinformation that came out. And I do think at some point either me or other people are going to be able to prove that there have actually been a massive psyop going on behind the scenes. There's been people dragging me, spreading lies about me. There's been people dragging the parents, spreading lies about the parents. There's been random songs being dropped. I've noticed it, and I'm on these Reddit threads constantly, and I'm hearing that there's apparently loads of bot accounts on these Reddit pages. There's been people. I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, Ross made some joke about Celeste." Didn't happen. You can't find the clip because it doesn't exist. All right. It did not happen. You cannot find what I said because it did not happen. It was not said. It was simply me noticing a pattern of words that was inappropriate and pointing that out. I did not make any kind of joke. But basically, they have found this thing and they're like, we're just going to keep throwing that at him. And I think they've got a list of gripes and people that they want to attack on this basis. Celeste's family is one of them. And I think that they're going with this, oh, they were paid off. Not true. All right, not at all true. And the $9,000 payment, we now know exactly what that was for based on the text messages. Absolute lies, all right? The idea that the parents allowed this and that they weren't following up and they just let her go, absolutely untrue. We found out the exact evidence of David having a plot to kidnap this girl. Absolutely not true. There is a disinformation campaign going on. I believe that I have observed it very, very closely in this whole debacle. And I think it's going to get exposed. I'm currently working on some research and I'm digging deeper to try and find some of the truth behind what's been going on with the David Discord, the other secret Discord, all of these alleged Reddit bots that are spreading misinformation and lies. I'm keeping tabs on everything and everyone, people. So anybody that thinks they're going to run a little psyop in the background and try and, come up with a defense for David or drag the family or drag some of the people looking into it, drag me, drag Steve Fisher, drag the DA, all of that stuff, you're going to get found out and you're going to look really bad and embarrassing. And I will be fighting to absolutely air you fools out. So stay tuned for that. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But for now, I'm out. That was it. Load of nonsense. Don't believe the hype. And rest in peace to Celeste, and condolences and respect to the family.